Who are you? What do you do?
Okay, well, I call myself Coach Eddie G, because that's where if you see Grace Fitness 7, I said Grace Fitness 7 because my last name was Gracia, which means grace, but because it looks like Garcia, I went with the English word instead, Grace Fitness 7. And also, there's some Bible scripture there. I let people know, hey, I am a person who acknowledges the Bible, has concluded that it's inspired word, and it's great to apply it to your daily life. So I like to put scripture up there. That's another thing of who I am. I'm not gonna hide behind, like, if I'm at a certain business or a company and say, hey, you can't really promote exactly who you are. Now having my own business, I can put exactly who I want to put up there. But yeah. Also putting that aside, professionally speaking, I have over 10 years experience training people. I've helped thousands of people get in shape. People come to me to get stronger. Sometimes people look at a coach and like, oh, well, he doesn't look like Schwarzenegger. How good can he be? Look, don't look at a trainer, not so much of how he looks, but look at a trainer of what can he do for you. Like, for instance, if you want to lose 20 pounds of fat, has your trainer helped people lose 20 pounds of fat before? And what's the success rate? That's what you should look for. If you want to get to a 405-pound squat and you're at 220 right now, has your trainer that you're hiring, your hard-earned money, has he helped people get other people there? Sometimes people are like, well, I don't know if I can trust him. Look at the credentials, look at his experience. Just like when you see boxing trainers or UFC trainers, the guy in the corner, those guys can't compete sometimes with those younger guys, but they know what it takes to get the guys in shape. Like you see the great Cus D'Amato, probably the best boxing trainer ever. When he coached the young Mike Tyson, he was in the 70s. Could he still go toe-to-toe with Tyson? Of course not. But he kind of made Tyson who he is. So that's the type of trainer I am. Don't look at me. I'm not a big bodybuilder guy. I'm not a big guy like, I'm here and all these things. But I can get you to where you need your goals. I can get you to your goals, to when you need to get to. And also I can use science, meaning science, we're talking the scientific method. We're talking, you're able to observe something, you're able to measure it, you're able to test it, and you're able to repeat it. So I can observe somebody wanting to go from 200-pound bench press to 300-pound. I can measure it because obviously I can measure the 1 rep max. I can test it time and time again, see if he improved. If you got to 220, 240, 260, so on and so forth, 300. And I can repeat it with other people. That's what I mean, the scientific method. I can repeat results for people. Remember, people are hiring me to get them to where they need to be. Not exactly where I'm at right now. Where I'm at right now, I'm pretty healthy for my age. I can move up and do stuff. If I gotta get in better shape or less shape, that's really not the problem for the client. I have all the certifications.
What do you think the biggest problem is?
The biggest problem for the client sometimes is, are they really gonna get results? Because sometimes they might see a trainer and like, oh, can the trainer get me to where I need to be at? That's where you have to go to the reviews. That's where you have to go to some before and after pics. But be careful before and after pics. I got to tell you right now, a lot of them are manipulated. You can take a guy the same day and make him stick his stomach out, make him look really bad, and then that same day in the afternoon, make him fast all day, stick his stomach in, put a little tan on him, get different angles, and he already look like he lost 20, 30 pounds. So before and after pics are great, but look more for videos and look more for testimonials. People have actually worked with the trainer themselves.
So you're saying you can get them to their goal. That's the main thing. It's not just about
yeah.
a bunch of weight. It's about
exactly, because say a baseball player comes to me, I'm not gonna get the baseball player. Let's just say he's a pitcher, and the pitcher has to do a lot of throwing. Baseball players in general have to do a lot of throwing, but pitchers more, catchers more. There's certain movements I'm not gonna have him do. Doesn't mean that he can't do them, but I'm gonna modify them. For instance, I might not have a baseball pitcher do regular squats or overhead squats, but I might have him do front squats, kettlebell squats, Bulgarian split squats, so I'll modify his workout. He's still working his legs because that's specific. Say somebody comes to me who's doing Olympic weight training, well, I'm gonna do overhead squats. It's not a problem because he's not throwing. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all exercise regimen. It's also what fits this person specific for what he's asking. I'm not gonna be like, oh, do you really wanna play baseball? Maybe you wanna play hockey? No. Once you made up your mind and you come to me, I'm gonna make you the better version of yourself, the best version of yourself for that given period of time. So you're coming to me to play baseball, I'll make you a better baseball player. You're coming to me to play soccer, you'll be a better soccer player. You're coming to me to be a better weightlifter. I'm gonna make you a better weightlifter. So that's where I'm at now. 10 plus years experience. I work with baseball players, basketball players, hockey players, track and field guys. I work with some people who just want to bodybuild. And I do have a limit for bodybuilding. You know, I can only get you so far. And then I have other coaches that are specific in bodybuilding. Once they achieve a certain plateau, I can't get them no further. I'll say, hey, I recommend you so-and-so. I recommend you this coach over here, or this coach, he's getting people to that next extreme level. So I do have a cutoff as well, and I know my limitations as a trainer. But I would say overall, I can probably pretty much train anybody and get them better. I would say 95% of the population, they can come to me and they can get better. And objectively better. Objective means objective to observe. You can see them getting better because I can track their progress from day 1, day 2. I do video analysis so they can see themselves get a lot better. And if we're talking about objectively again, say they're benching 250 when they come to me, when they leave, they're benching 300, you can measure that. That's what I'm talking about. There's strict measurements. If people want to get their waist down and they're at 40 waist before they come to me, 37 afterwards, I can measure that. I can pinch them with calipers. Hey, your body fat dropped. I have scales. We can do numbers. That's what I mean by a trainer. He's not just guessing. I'm not guessing. You know, you come to me, you're gonna get results.
So you guarantee that if someone say like the versus a professional athlete like a baseball player, on 40s, 50s,
right?
That their goals are going to be different.
Yes.
But no matter what the goal is, you're still able to guarantee that they will meet said goal.
Exactly. Say the mom who has 3 kids and is busy and hasn't worked out in 10 years. You know, it's irresponsible of me to get her out there. Like I know a lot of trainers get them out there and have their clients just say throw up. You didn't want to work them so hard. Oh, I'm showing you that I'm such a great trainer. I can just really take you to the grinder. No. Part of the trainer as well is psychology, is building people up. And if somebody hasn't trained in 10 years, the first session or 2, maybe talking about goals, maybe talking about certain nutrition, what are their daily habits, what's impeding them from working out. I understand their moms and their busy schedule, but believe me, a lot of people watch Netflix for a couple hours a day. People have the time to work out. They just don't want to work out, and I'll give you 2 big reasons. The number 1 reason they don't want to work out, they don't see results. And the second reason they don't want to work out, there's so much information out there on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on any Google search, anything you search, you're going to find so many different workouts. It seems like they contradict each other.
There's no guidance.
But it's not really a contradiction. What it is a perspective. Like for instance, if I'm on one side of a car, and on one side of the car there's a sign, and someone says, describe that car, I'm describing that car from my perspective. Oh, on this sign it says, construction 24/7. The other side may have a phone number. So somebody else's perspective say, oh no, I'm reading a phone number. That's what happens when you see a lot of fitness programs online. It's just a different perspective. It doesn't necessarily contradict each other. It's just that somebody's giving you their own perspective of what's worked for them and what hasn't worked. You know, but they come to me, again, I'm gonna give them science. What does science do? I'm gonna give you the highest probability possible for you to get to your goals. That's the difference. You know, I can't guarantee results, but the scientific method is 95% certainty that you will achieve your goals if you put the work in and if you stick to your meal plan. 95% certainty. In science, that's really great. I mean, I can't give you 100% because in life there's really no 100%. There is, but in science, we don't use 100%. We use 95 and 98, and that's a really good number. So that's another thing I tell people straight out. Hey, there might be a little possibility that you don't get to your goals. Yeah. That's there. I'm up front with my customers from day 1.
So if someone would say like they have a goal, you're going to outline how to reach it.
Exactly. In the scientific method, I'm going to give them everything I learned in school, my 6+ years of university, from getting my master's, and my 10+ years of actually working with trainers and working with clients.
What are some of the things you learned in school?
Well, school's great because school shows you how to measure things. School shows you how to deal with a population. Okay, what I mean by that is like, say you're training a group of people. Let's just say 10 people to keep the number even. School shows you how to take the measurements down, how to save your data so you can go back later on and look at it and share that with your clients. It also shows you how to explain things. It shows you how to network. You know, you meet different people from different walks of life. I met people from over 10 countries, maybe over 20 countries when I was going to school. You got to work in groups. You got to work on each other. So that's why I really like school. People say, well, education's not that important.
Did you enjoy it going to school?
I enjoyed it. See what happens? I started school when I was younger, late teens, early 20s. Didn't really like school. Went to go work in the gyms. Went to go work in fitness. I stayed in exercise for 10 plus years. Went back to school in my early 30s. Got my bachelor's and my master's, in my 30s. And here I am now with all those years of experience and the school and the networking. And I'm just ready to go. I'm the trainer you pretty much want to come to if you want to see results and you want to learn. People want to learn, why do you squat? What muscles are involved? That's one thing in school's great. Well, the muscles are involved in the squats, well, there are many. You're primarily, it's a quad exercise. I'm not going to go into all the science, but quad just means four muscles that make the quads. And the squats hit those quads. No matter if you do a narrow stance, no matter if you do a wide stance, no matter if you do a front squat, a back squat, a lower bar squat, they all hit the quads. People want to say, oh, I have a certain foot placement that hits quads more. Yeah, I can see in bodybuilding how you can maybe specify one certain part of the muscle a little bit more, but overall, an exercise is going to hit all muscle groups pretty much evenly with an emphasis if you go, like for instance, the push-up. If you go a little more closer, you're going to get a little bit more tricep. But I don't care how wide you go, you're still hitting triceps in other words. Yeah. And that's what you learn in school. You learn how to dispel a lot of myths. See, there's a lot of myths online, a lot of propaganda. When you see one person promoting one thing, see, that's not science. Science is collective, meaning there's a lot of people that agree on something. For instance, clear across the board, doctors, scientists, exercise scientists, whoever will agree that exercise is good for you. There's a few people that say exercise is bad for you, you shouldn't exercise. But 99% of people say, no, you should exercise. And there's millions of studies to back it up. That's what I mean by science. That's what I mean by something you learn in school. Yeah, you learn how to really approach it from an evidence-based regimen. Does the evidence support what you're telling people? Like for instance, if I tell people to do 100 sets of squat a day, does evidence support that? And no, it doesn't. But if I tell people to squat 3 to 5 sets a week for squats, and then maybe 3 to 5 sets of deadlifts and 3 to 5 sets of leg extensions and stiff leg deadlifts, that's about 20 sets per that group a week. Now evidence supports that. And that's what school made me a better trainer. Something I can just, yeah, that's a problem.
But yeah,
So to wrap up that answer, that's what school made me. It made me a better trainer from the get. I'm not really guessing. When I started as a trainer, a lot of gyms, they charge $50 an hour. I started back in 2010. They charge $50 for the session, and sometimes the trainers get 20, 25, half. If you were to ask me back then, was I really worth that much? I probably wasn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably wouldn't have paid that much for me. I wasn't that good. A lot of people thought I was really good back then, but I'm really hard on my own self. I really wasn't that good. But if you ask me what I'm worth now, I'm easily worth $100 an hour. People be like, why so much? Well, because I have the masters and I have the 10 plus years of experience, and because I'm gonna change you forever. I'm gonna give you a certain mindset, and I have the ability to break down something very complex, make it simple where you can apply it to in your everyday life. If you're a house mom, if you're a guy who works construction, the things I teach you, you're gonna be applying them to your day in, day out. Even how you wake up in the morning, get out of bed. I'm gonna show you how to get out of bed without hurting your back. I'm gonna show you how to warm up dynamically so you don't hurt yourself. See, one job as a strength coach, the number one job as a strength and conditioning coach, is keep people injury free. If you keep people from getting injured, you've done your job. If a guy gets injured, if he's an athlete, he can't be out on the field. If you're not on the field, you're not getting paid. If you get injured in high school, your chances of getting drafted or whatever goes way down. Injuries really pay people. Now think about your everyday people. If they get injured, if a construction guy gets injured, you're training him. You go too heavy, too quick on the squat, and you're training him. He can't go to work for 2 weeks. He can't feed his family. So exercise is not just, oh, I'm gonna grab and start exercising. There's a lot to it. That's why it's a $1 billion industry, because everybody has their say so. Well, I don't have my own opinion. I'm giving you evidence. I'm giving you years of study. I'm giving you other trainers with their 20, 30 years of experience who are my mentors.
What would you say is different from, say, going to the Planet Fitness versus coming near you?
I mean, I don't want to say night and day, but it's kind of night and day.
Yeah.
Because what happens, we have an attention span as human beings. We can only focus on a point for such a long period of time. If you're training me, say I'm your client, you're training me, somebody walks in front of me who's really attractive, everything you're trying to tell me for a few minutes is going to go out the door, just because we are human beings. We're dealing with the neurons and the physiology of the human anatomy.
Yeah.
It's just super loud music, and you gotta yell, and I want to hear in a few of your words, as opposed to hear it's nice and quiet, nobody's around.
Yeah.
Another thing too, at a gym you may have to show off, because there's a person really attracted to you over there, and you're trying to show off, so you're using more weight than you can.
Yeah.
And that's happened to all of us. It's happened to everybody. And another thing,
People are intimidated by the big gym.
and people are intimidated by the big gym, and also right now with the germ stuff going on, and people are closing early in the hours, and you can't negotiate at a gym. If it's $80 a session, $70 a session, $100 a session, $120 a session, then that's what you're paying. That's another thing. There's no negotiation. Here I run my own garage gym. I can go to you. I can cut a few dollars off. I'm not gonna cut too much off because I gotta eat too.
Yeah.
And I gotta pay my student loan, so I'm not gonna train people for free. But hey, say hey man, I want to buy 10 sessions off of you, but I'm like $20 short or something like that. I can work with people like that. I'm not gonna be like I'm $100 short. Well, no, man, I'm not volunteering. Another thing too, I have a smart TV on the wall there. After a lot of people need to be filmed doing the squat, they need to be filmed doing a deadlift, they need to be filmed doing a Bulgarian split squat, so I can show them their back angle. I have apps where I can draw on the apps, I can show them the degrees. They can sit down after the workout for about 5 minutes and we can go over their progression. See, I can't do that at a commercial gym. Mm-hmm. Number one, I'm probably not allowed to. Some people don't want to be filmed, and there is no TV there. And even if there was, you're gonna get a whole crowd of people around you. What are you doing? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, that person's flooded with so many voices, they can no longer pay attention. And again, we only have so much attention we can give to a certain period of, to a certain point for a certain period of time. And if people are interrupting us, it takes us a while to refocus. Like a camera. You go into the camera real close and then it goes out of focus. When you jump back, it is not immediately focused. It takes a few seconds. Well, first it takes a few minutes. And say you're being interrupted 20 minutes, 30 minutes out of the session. You only got 30 minutes with the trainer, so you're not getting your bang for your buck. That's another reason I want to open a garage gym. I really like to train people. I really like to coach people. I'm passionate about what I studied. I want to pass it on to other people. And I believe everybody in life is here to help each other. We're here to help each other, and we're here to create. We're here to create better people, and exercise doesn't help that. Because exercise helps serotonin, helps with dopamine, helps with sleep, helps with mood. You feel better after you exercise, you sweat, you detoxify. And not everybody wants to be a bodybuilder. Not everybody wants to be an Olympic athlete. Some people want to come to me just to learn the squat. Hey, I want to learn the squat. I've been told feet this way. I've been told this way, high bar, low bar. I want to learn the squat. Well, it's not one size fits all.
So do you feel that exercising is a requirement nowadays? Like it's like what are the biggest negative side effects of not exercising?
You have asked an excellent question. When people say, what do you think about exercise? I say exercise is a privilege. If you have your health, if you have your sight, you can move around, it's a privilege. I don't know why you wouldn't exercise. It's a privilege. If you could put exercise in a bottle and sell it as medication, it'd be the number one, and get this, it'd be the number one selling medication around the world. What it does for your serotonin levels, your dopamine levels, what it does for what it does to help cholesterol, what it does to help your muscle mass, what it does to help you breathe better. It builds more mitochondria. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, which basically you can produce more energy. It helps your lungs. Right now with the COVID going on, I read a couple of studies that says the people who exercise for half an hour, 5 days a week, just going walking, had a 90%, that's a 90% better chance of surviving the COVID than people who don't exercise. I'm talking about just going out, walking around. You can just talk to your friend for half an hour. You can chat through Messenger or Instagram or Skype or whatever you want to use. You just get out there and move, and especially the sun if you're out getting fresh air. So again, it's a privilege to exercise. So the biggest negative effect, to answer your question directly, of not exercising would be you're missing out on better health. You are missing out on better health. And if it's time to love yourself and reward yourself with exercise, if you take the time to watch your best Netflix show, believe me, people on their phone 2 or 3 hours a day.
Probably more.
Yeah, probably more. Probably more. So don't tell me they can't exercise. Man, take the phone with you to the park. Post it somewhere. Buy a tripod. I bought a tripod for $10. Put it on there, or somehow put it on. And even if you need to use your hands, there's devices where you can put like a chest strap or a backpack, or have that selfie stick sticking out. You're running, you're watching your show, you're jumping, you're watching your show. You can put it by a fence. You can do a kettlebell workout by the fence. If you need to watch that TV, or if you need to watch that phone, if you're addicted to it, then work out in front of your phone.
Yeah, like don't kill yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think do you feel that people think like exercise is just a terrible, hard thing?
Yeah,
it scares them away.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody thinks, and they even have old colleagues that like they were in incredible shape, say in their 20s, and now they may be in their 30s, 40s, even some are in their 50s. They're like, oh, if I can't work out 3 hours like I used to, I don't even want to touch the weights anymore, because it's almost like an embarrassment. Well, guess what, man? The second law of thermodynamics, it's on all of us. And guess what? Age is a factor, and as you get older, you do lose some muscle mass.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as strong in your 20s as in your 50s. You're not going to look. If you meet a guy in his 50s and he tells you he's in his 20s, you're going to be like, get out of here. You know? If you meet a guy in his 20s, he tells you he's in the 50s, you're going to be, get out of here. Because there is a physiological effect of time on people. It's true.
How old are you?
So I'm over 35 now, so you can imagine that. I'm over. So I put, that's a great question too. So for my clients, I put age groups. I don't put millennials. I don't do millennials, Generation Z. I don't do baby boomers. I don't believe. I use age groups from 20 to 35. I put that age group because those are the people that can recover faster and whatever. After 35, I have 35 to 50. That's another age group. And then I have my 50 to 65. Then I have 65 to 80. And I've trained people in their 90s. That's other age groups. So I have age groups. And no, you cannot work out in your 50s like you did in your 20s. You just can't. I'm not saying you can't look good. Like you have Jeff Cavaliere of AthleanX.com. You have Greg Doucette, who I really look up to. He gives great advice. He's in great shape. And he's a realist. That's why I really like Greg Doucette. He's a realist with his stuff. He has said he's in the 40s. From I believe Jeff Cavaliere's in his 40s. So they're post 35, but they're in that 35 to 50 group. They stay in great shape, but again, they can't train like they did in their 20s. Even they will tell you. One of my 20s, I trained this way. Now I train this way. That's another thing you have to adapt. And I think people think that if they're not looking like they look in the magazine, it's a failure. If I don't have a beach body and a six-pack, then I failed in 3 months. That's not a failure. Look, even if you don't change exteriorly, interiorly you're changing. Your lungs are getting better when you work out. Your heart's getting better. Your cells are getting better. Your circulation is better. Your hormones are better. Even if you didn't see no effects on the outside, you don't see no effects exteriorly, but interiorly you're getting a lot of effects of exercise. So that alone should be enough for you to get your exercise. But I think that's the biggest thing.
Is that their biggest fear? What's the biggest fear?
Yes.
So they say,
the biggest fear is failure.